What's up, ballers? Jacob here with AllDriveNoDrop. I'm breaking down my top 5 titanium paddles today. We will talk about that word in 1 second, but we had the Shogun come out first, right? And it took a while before other paddles came out with the same facing material, which was surprising because the Shogun was very popular, looks amazing. So you figured, where's everyone at? But we are getting a rush of titanium paddles right now. And I think it's a perfect time for me to talk about 5 of them that are very good choices if you are looking for the titanium paddle. Let's talk about all the paddles we'll be talking about today real quick. The bread and butter Shogun, the Honolulu J2Ti, the Nexus Pro Star, and the Nxt Gen Valor Pro. Now, it has come out that these are not real titanium fibers in the facing. They are polyester fibers. Different companies say different things, but basically it comes down to their polyester. Some may have traces of titanium that they're coated in, or they just might be titanium colored polyester fibers. At the end of the day, for me, it's just really important how they play. And titanium just sounds a lot better than electroplated, polyester, or any of the other phrases. So I'm going to call them titanium still. I understand if you don't want to, you can call them polyester. It's okay. I just want to talk about them how everyone else is understanding what they are. And I think titanium is what they're going to be called going forward. It's just too late to change the name now. So I'm going to break down these top 5 paddles and really talk about how they compare to each other. I think that's the most important thing to me, ranking them 1 through 5. I'll tell you what my favorite are for just my play style, my playability, but I'm going to compare them. I'm going to give you my weight setups for them, and then we'll wrap that up. So I think this would be very beneficial if you're looking at getting one of these titanium paddles. Let's jump in to the stat comparison first, and we'll list all the paddles that we're talking about. All right, let's jump into how these paddles compare, but first I just want to talk about the handle lengths. Everyone lists their handles about 5.5 inches. I think the Neonic flare has the most usable room because of this taper. You can get up to about 6 inches of room taping up. So if you're looking for that maximum handle length, the flare is going to be a great option, which is interesting because it is the only wide body on this list. All the other ones are hybrids and elongated. Let's jump in real quick. We'll talk about the prices and the shapes. So you have the flare coming in at the cheapest, with the Valor Pro coming in the most expensive. Not a huge price range here, really pretty tight. You know, not much separation in terms of price. All pretty good values in my opinion. That's one thing that's interesting because you would think, you know, the technology is a little bit different than everyone else. They would want to charge a premium, but everyone here is charging a really good price. And then you have wide body for the flare, hybrid for the J2Ti, 2 elongateds in the Pro Star, and the Shogun and the Valor Pro is also a hybrid. So you have each shape represented here. So you got the choices there. One other thing to look at too is like when you see these in the sun or bright light, they do get a nice shine. It looks pretty cool. Might distract your opponent too. I don't know if we're going to be talking about that. And then softest to stiffest. This is really a big feel thing. I think the J2Ti and flare are definitely the softest on this list. Whether the J2Ti or the flare is going to be softer for you, it's going to be very close. I would think the better way to look at this, the J2Ti, the flare, very, very soft. Shogun, also very soft, just not quite as soft as the other two, and that's more due to it being elongated. Pro Star, kind of middle of the road. Not too, definitely not stiff, definitely not the softest, but not too bad. The Valor Pro is the only one where it's like, oh, I don't even really notice the titanium effect on this paddle because it's pretty stiff. It's not like Thrive Azul stiff, but it is stiff for what we're dealing with in the titanium. So just to know, it is the stiffest. And now we'll jump into the swing weights, the twist weights, the power, and the pop. The swing weight, Nothing outrageous here. This is kind of what you would expect. The flare is a little bit on the higher side for swing weights for a wide body, but that's okay. It has great twist weight, has great stability, great plow through, J2Ti comes in a little lighter for a hybrid, and it really benefits from adding some weight. All these paddles can be played stock fine. That's the good thing. All these can be played out of the box, no problem. Keep in mind the swing weights. Pro Star getting up there with the 123 if you want to start making some modifications, but honestly, it plays really well stock, so it's not a big deal. Twist weights there, Flare leading the bunch as the wide body, no surprise there. Pro Star and Shogun being the lowest as the elongated, also no surprise. But Shogun and Pro Star, they both play pretty well for their twist weight. Really not a big issue with twisting and stability for me on those. Now, power. This is interesting. The Valor Pro has the most power, and it's pretty close with the Pro Star. Honestly, I could see people getting different numbers for the Pro Star and Valor Pro. They're very, very close, especially in real-world play for me. So when we're talking about the Valor Pro and the Pro Star, it's interesting because, you know, the Pro Star is elongated, the Valor Pro is a hybrid, so you'd be like, oh, and the Pro Star has foam-filled cores, or foam-filled cells in there, and then the Valor Pro does not. Interesting that it doesn't get much more power. I would have expected the Pro Star to get a lot more power, but they both hit very hard, so it's good stuff. It's more, I guess, the Valor Pro just punching above its weight for a hybrid without that foam. All have you know, pretty good power for what they offer. And then as far as the pop goes, the Valor Pro, Pro Star top the list, and then the Flare, Shogun, and J2Ti. It's not that they have bad pop. It's more just like they're kind of middle of the road, and if you don't like a poppy paddle, then these are very good, especially for control. So that's kind of how they all break down. I think this is a good thing to look at if it helps you determine what you want to get. And now I'll talk about each one individually and just kind of how they play and my weight setup. And so let's jump into that. We'll start with, we're going to go from the oldest to the newest. So we'll go with the bread and butter Shogun first. Okay, the bread and butter Shogun was the first to come out of the titanium paddles. And my favorite stylistically. It just does everything very well. You have a little bit above average power, you have average pop, and you have just a very consistent feeling sweet spot that does what you want, and it keeps doing it every time you hit the ball. That, for me, and I know for many people, is one of the most important things, is when you hit that ball, you know how it's going to respond. It has that titanium quality of that soft springing feeling, and it just feels really pleasant when you connect with the sweet spot. It isn't going to blow anyone away as far as, you know, the power pop, but that's okay because it's an all-core elongated paddle. You can customize it a little bit, and it has one of the best control abilities for me for an elongated paddle. When I played this again, when I was making this top 5, I probably played the most consistent with the bread and butter Shogun. And you wouldn't think that with the twist weight being so low, but this is one where the twist weight number just doesn't tell the truth. And for all of my my tungsten tape setups, my weight setups, I'm using the Bodhi tungsten tape. Now for me, and you can get 15% off, just follow the link in the description. For me, been the best for the grips, the tungsten tape. It's been my favorite by far. For me, for the bread and butter Shogun, I do something a little bit different than I do for most elongated paddles. This is the 1 gram per inch strip, and this is a 4-inch strip. I go from a little bit below this bottom corner up to about the R. So basically from that R in the bread and down. Now, it doesn't need it, but I like a little extra weight here, a little bit more power, a little bit more stability and plowed through. That's been my favorite setup. There's a ton of different setups you can use on this. You can go with the traditional 3 grams from 4 and 8 o'clock and be happy with it. That's just what I prefer. We'll go on to the next one. The Neonic Flare is a very, very awesome paddle too. Very soft, one of the second softest on this list. And it has the fiberglass layer underneath this carbon fiber and titanium, which gives it that extra boost in the wide body form. One of the more powerful wide body paddles that isn't, you know, the Paddle Tech or any of these Gen 3 paddles. Very consistent off the face, Great dwell time, amazing dwell time. If that's something that's very important for your play style and you like that dwell time, this is excellent, excellent, excellent. Great control, pretty decent pop, but not too much pop. Really, the more you get that counterpunch swinging, the more you're going to get. Just off the face, the ball's not popping off too hard, but that fiberglass does help give it a little boost when you're getting those big counter punches. Great price too, lowest price on the list. Can't complain there. Now, I use the 0.5 gram per inch strip going from the bottom corner. So this is about, I think about 8.5 inches. You could go, 9 inches. Go from the bottom corner up to this top corner. It doesn't need, so this is my play style. I've been kind of bringing my paddles up in weight and up in swing weight just because I can handle it. If you don't want to go that high, I would just go from this bottom corner up to maybe like right here with a 0.5 gram per strip inch. But I would try it. See if you can handle it. It just plays really well, gives you that added power. You don't need any added stability. I just like to balance out my weight for the sweet spot, and it plays very well. So if you're looking for a wide body that's going towards more power for wide bodies, but not too much, like the Paddle Techs or the Gen 3s, Neonic Flare is a really, really great choice. So next we'll go on to the Honolulu J2Ti. Honolulu J2Ti, it's probably going to actually replace a lot of the people that were using the J2K. I think they're going to like this one more. What that percentage will be, I don't know. It's just this feels so good. And this is also I think this is the grittiest paddle on this list. And I've played this quite a bit. Grit is still going strong. I really enjoy using this paddle. It feels so good. It just, this and the flare are just so maneuverable. It's so controllable, and it lets me swing big. So they don't have the most power on the list, but if you like to swing big, I think that these two paddles are better for you because it lets you swing big and keeps that control. Weight setup, same as the flare. I'm going from the bottom to the top corner about 8 inches right here. Going from the bottom to the top corner about 8 inches or so. Play around with that. You can always go like a thicker strip right here. You could go with a 1 gram per inch strip, or you could put the 3 gram pre-cut strip in the middle. That's what I do. If I have the pre-cut strip, I usually put it in the middle on these hybrids. It just feels better for me. But anyway, elite spin, a little bit above average power, about average pop, and some of the best control and best feeling you can get from the Honolulu J2Ti. Going to come in gold too. This is the blue version. It's going to come in gold as well. Love it, love it, love it. Let's move on. Next, I don't know which one came out first for these because they're both newer companies. So we'll go with the Pro Star. I believe that came out first. So we'll go with the Nexus Pro Star next. All right, the Nexus Pro Star. Very interesting paddle because it's kind of similar to how the Sportus Olympus is constructed in the core. They have the foam-filled cells in the core, but it's not as powerful as the Olympus and not as poppy. So you still get a great feeling with this paddle. Great sweet spot. I think the foam is actually helping the sweet spot more than anything. It does give it that little power boost as well. This is one of the harder hitting paddles on the list, and if you're looking for it's probably could be considered an all-core power paddle, whatever you want to say, doesn't really matter. It has great finishing power and just plays really well stock. So that's exciting. It is the highest swing weight on the list, a little bit slow in the hands if you don't have great hand speed. But if you're looking for an elongated paddle that can bring the heat, then this is great. All these paddles on this list, by the way, get really good spin, elite spin. We're talking over 2,000 RPM, so don't worry about that. Anyway, so the Nexus Pro Star is great. It still has a softer, springier feeling, just not as much as the other three that I already talked about. Now, I've tried different weight setups with this. I tried 3 grams at 4 and 8. Tried some going up from the throat to here. And honestly, I found that I just prefer playing this one stock. It's one of those rare ones that I'm like, yeah, put my overgrip and I play it stock. So honestly don't mind that the best performance is stock, because that's cool. I don't have to modify it at all. But a couple things you can play around with that. There's the 3 grams there, or try like a 0.5 gram coming up. Just try some different stuff, whatever you want to do. Nexus Pro Star, pretty good. All around elongated paddle that's starting to increase with the power and pop compared to the other 3 on this list, if that's what you're looking for. Let's move on to the Nxt Gen Valor Pro. So the Nxt Gen Valor Pro, new company here. I think this is their first paddle, or at least it's the first paddle I've tried from them. Stiffest paddle on this list. You don't really get the, you know, the softer springiness feeling from this, except maybe it's just so springy it pops off really fast, because this has the most pop on the list. Pretty gritty, actually. Still really good spin. It looks cool if you like that big X. This one plays, you would think that all drive, no drop, aggressive play style, this would be my paddle, but I probably played the most up and down with this paddle, just because it really takes some time to hone in playing with this, because it's so poppy, so fast and powerful, and a little stiffer. I think that's the thing, is I don't like when a paddle feels stiffer. That's probably where I just didn't jive with the paddle, but I still had some really good games with this paddle. And I think if you're looking for that pop and power combo, this is a great price point to get it. 116 swing weight. You can definitely make some modifications with this. I played it with I did the same thing as my flare and my J2Ti. Had the 0.5 gram per inch strip from the bottom to the top corner. Played really well, helped soften it a little bit, and doesn't really need the added stability. Just gave it even more power. And I think that is a great, you know, first premium paddle from Nxt Gen. Interested to see what they do next there. But yeah, Valor Pro, most powerful and poppy on this list. A little bit stiffer, doesn't give you that softer feeling that the other titanium paddles do. Let's go into my conclusion, and we'll wrap this all up. Okay, so we went through the top 5 titanium paddles right now. Whichever one fits your play style. I think from the stat comparison and the prices and everything I talked about, I think it can lead you to make the right decision for you. For me, if I rank them 1 through 5, oh, I bet you would like to know, wouldn't you? That's hard, because they each fit a different play style, right? For me, I probably played my best with the J2Ti, and I mean, it's just how it's going to be. I play with the J2K and the Spartus Olympus the most. Hybrid shapes is just how my game has been playing the best lately. So for me, it was the J2Ti was my favorite overall. After that, Bread and Butter Shogun, number 2, was surprisingly, it's been a while since I've used it, and surprisingly, just some of the best control and consistency with my resets. I enjoyed it. So that's my number 2. You know, if you had asked me a while ago, I would have put the Neonic Flare up there. But I don't know. I haven't been playing good with wide bodies lately. This is really great, though. If you play with wide bodies, like, put this further up on your list, because it's really, really good. But next, I would go with the Nxt Gen Valor Pro as my 3rd. Like I said, play with the hybrids. And, I mean, I love that power and pop combo. Really fun paddle. You need to dial it in, because it is a little harder to control than the other ones on the list. Just keep that in mind. And then I would go with the Neonic Flare. Just, you know, it's not my preferred shape at the moment, but excellent paddle. Nexus Pro Star, probably the paddle I've spent the least time with on the list, so do keep that in mind. And it is really good. Look, every paddle on this list, really, really high quality. I just wish it got more power for the swing weight that it's at, but it does have a good power pop blend, and it has a good feel as well. So pretty good paddle overall. If you like the Olympus, but you want it a little bit toned down, the elongated shape, and this would be an option for you. So those are my rankings. Take them for what you will. Like I said, my play style, my feeling, my preferences aren't going to be exactly yours, but I hope all that information is going to help you figure out which one's for you. As always, please like the video, drop in the comments what your favorite titanium paddle has been, or if you haven't tried one, which one are you looking forward to trying the most? Of course, subscribe to the channel. Love all the subscribers that help me out. You guys, y'all are helping me grow the channel, and I really do appreciate that. And if you have any other questions, any other comments, drop them down there. Hope you all got to play some pickleball. Hope you all get to play some pickleball this week. Have a great day.